So congratulations on Listly. It's pretty neat. How's it going?
It's gone really well. Like, our stats are just crazy.
Uh-huh.
The traffic is going well. People are coming back. You can pretty much see it all on Alexa.com, right? It's all public what's there, and the engagement time, the bounce rate is down. The watch rate, the time people are spending on the site is way up. The page views is up. The traffic is up.
What's it up to? What do you got?
We're at 166, I think.
Uh-huh.
But in the US, we're like, I forget where we are. We're like in the 80s or something.
Uh-huh.
And then we haven't even looked. Well, our goal right now is to get to 100,000 worldwide.
Uh-huh.
And then, which we intend to do in the next probably 5 weeks, I think.
Wow.
Pretty easy. And then when we get to that point, we're going to localize, so that will propel us. Because right now we're bizarre. We actually have some pretty hot lists in Greek, Russian, and Serbian.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. So if we actually localize, and we got a bunch in Denmark as well. So we're going to basically turn the platform into a kind of crowdsourced translation.
Uh-huh.
So people will be able to translate into any locale, and then we think that'll propel us for a good bit of growth after that. So yeah, we're trying to make those kind of picks as where we go. Where we go next, right? Because everything's got so much easier when you've got traffic, because everyone buys into the vision because, people liked my list, they voted on it, I'm on the homepage, I've got some traffic, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's very hard to actually sell that vision when you're saying it's coming, but with actually the crowd that's there and the engagement, it's, and we had our first 50,000 view list this week.
Oh my God.
Which is a lot of views, right?
When did you start this project?
It's just over. I joined about 6-7 weeks ago. But Sham, who's my co-founder, he'd been at it for about a year. So he's built it out, built the architecture, and he got some exposure to it. And it was a little bit clunky and there was friction places, and so. I mean, that was what I liked when I saw it. It was like, oh my God, this is so ripe for kind of doing a good job on it. And we're really kind of hitting it like a lean startup. Right? So we're trying to talk. I'm talking to people, and what I've discovered is all our users have no real clue how to market lists and don't even realize it's what it is, which is fine. What I'm doing is kind of gleaning everyone's tips from one person to another, and I'm sharing them around. With the users, and then they're all doing what I'm telling them, and it's working, and they're coming back and doing more, right? So it's pretty fun to have. I'm here with these levers, pushing and pulling, and watching what everyone's doing, and suggesting things to people, and then it happens, and so it's kind of exciting.
What's your favorite list so far?
Oh my God, good question. I like some of the people lists because that's. It's a big thing for me. I love the community managers list. It's got 577 items on it, which kind of pokes a finger at Twitter, who limits their list at 500 people, and they limit it to 20 lists each. So, our goal is to, some ways to be a little bit more people. I mean, we'll still always be a universal listing service, right? But having some people centricity is going to be something we're going to be focusing on. People listen in to people, right?
Exactly.
So people listen to their brand mentions, and so that's a social propulsion vehicle right now. People listen in and see when their stuff's mentioned, then they jump in there to re-mention it. And, I mean, it's just human nature. Like we listen in. And so I happen to be on a top CMO list done by a guy called Kent Huffman. I first spotted his list and tweeted it out that it was this cool list of top 100 most active, most followed CMOs on Twitter, and it was kind of fun. The next thing I know, the guy had added me to his list. I was like, oh, now I'm on the list. Suddenly I was in the list, and I'm now in the top 10 or something. And he does a list of top 100 marketing professors and top 100 marketing authors and top 100 CMOs, and he basically promotes each list once every 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that list gets promoted, I get people congratulating me that I'm on this list, that I've achieved this status.
Uh-huh.
And
it's the same list over and over again.
Old news to me. I've been on that list for 12 months now, 18 months maybe, 12 months plus. And, but you forget that's the thing with Twitter. People don't see all the stuff that goes flying by.
Right.
Because it's so transient, right? It's so fleeting.
Yeah.
But people love to be mentioned, so mentioning people gets you more exposure and
it's true. Yeah, I tend to, when I go to TweetDeck, I tend to check to see if I've been mentioned before I see what anybody else is saying.
Yeah, and anyone who's addicted it's like it's going off the phone going. So
this is great. I'm gonna have to make a list. I'm not sure what it's gonna be, but I'm gonna do something. It's on my list. It's on my to-do list. Listly is now on my to-do list. I'm gonna figure out some.
One of the things I would suggest, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a starting point, because I think if you it's great. I'd love to see you using it for community purpose, right?
Uh-huh.
But if you actually just started with a list of the who to watch in community commons space, right, and do a people list, crowdsource the people list, you'll get, because everyone in the community, everyone will be listening into their mentions, right?
Oh, right.
What you do is you build this list of the top 50 people to watch in community, social, whatever issues, whatever you want to call it, and then that will flush out the who's who list, and then before you actually move on to saying, okay, I don't know what issue you're solving in what particular community, but the application of that is kind of obvious, but harder to demonstrate externally.
Right.
But if you build a list of people, then it will help bring, there's more longevity to building a list of people. That's what I was kind of thinking.
Right, I can see that, and people get like, oh, I'm on Dan's list, oh, I'm not on Dan's list.
They can embed it, right, and then they can embed it in their blog,
right,
and then they can also push it out to their base to say, who are we missing, right? So you build up this kind of directory. It's a shared resource of who's who in.
And then the way it works, just because I haven't done this yet, but anybody can add to the list.
Yeah, and then you moderate. If you're the list owner, you moderate. You can then accept or reject those. Additions. Yeah.
That's sweet. So top civic people to pay attention to in Northeast Ohio, and then I can just say there's no way I've gotten everybody. So who have I missed? Add their names. Right.
And actually, I actually don't recommend putting up what I call the smarty pants list out, which is I've got everybody. That's because that kind of leave holes, right?
Right. See,
if you leave holes, then everyone else can come along and be the smarty and fill in the gaps. And the people
that's great. That's really smart, because then you're giving people stuff to do.
Which is I kind of make that I kind of make that sound funny, just because people tend to go, I'll just do the whole thing, right? And it's that's the old model, is I'll do all the work. People actually want to help, so you just throw out. I tell you, who did a brilliant example was Robert Scoble, Scobleizer from Microsoft. He's a famous blogger, and he created a list. He has a massive following. I think he put 3. I think he did Android apps. He put three apps on it, and before you can blink, there's 200 apps in the list, and everyone's following it, and it's kind of
nice.
That's the right way to do it, right? It's basically use the crowd to fill in the gaps and get them involved. And
isn't the story about Wikipedia they inserted a lot of errors at the beginning to encourage people to fix stuff?
Yeah, I can imagine that working. I didn't know that was the case, but yeah, totally.
It may be an apocryphal story, but I feel like I read it in a Clay Shirky book or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. He probably made it up.
Well, Nick, this is very cool. I'm going to do something, and I will email you a link to it when I do it.